Hello everyone, how's it going? I am back and excited to bring you this new build video. This is a brand new Stamina Nightblade bow build that I've been working on. The build has a really unique playstyle and requires a lot of practice to really get the hang of it, but I can tell you it's really strong when played properly and quite fun to play. The gameplay revolves around kiting mainly and setting traps while landing insane burst damage with our combo. I haven't made a full PvP video featuring this build yet, but I'd like to make one as soon as possible. At this point I'm basically just waiting for Genimax to get rid of an add-on that makes playing with cast time abilities a rather unpleasant experience, to put it lightly. Anyway, I'll have some battleground gameplay on the background showcasing what this build is capable of, and let's get started. Yeah, and this is very important by the way. 5 pieces of Morak tongue. You can buy this set from other players or buy PvP boxes from Bruma. The beauty of this set is that it buffs most of our damage dealing abilities by 10%, which is a huge boost to our damage. Due to the way these modifiers calculate, it's actually 10% to your already buffed damage, not 10% to your base damage, which is very nice. 5 pieces of Marksman. Again, you can buy this set from other players or buy PvP boxes from Elite Gear vendor in Cyrodiil. This set massively boosts our sustain thanks to 2 stamina regen bonuses and 5% reduced costs, while also providing a decent amount of damage by boosting all of our base damage by 8%. Asylum Bow, the centerpiece of this build. You can find this weapon in the new trial, Asylum Sanctorium. The normal version, which has a slightly weaker set bonus, is quite easy to get, but for the perfected weapon you'll need a really good raiding guild. Though you can also get it as a reward when Asylum is the weekly trial. This bow is basically what allows us to get kills. It makes little arrow hit like a truck. And lastly, Master's Bow. I run this on off bar to increase our damage further with poison injection, which by the way is really hard with this build. Running double bow also helps in keeping a high Hawkeye uptime, which is really important, as it boosts our damage by up to 25%. You can also run a two-handed weapon here if you think you need rally to survive, but you're gonna lose a lot of damage if you do so. All armor pieces should be impenetrable due to the huge amount of undodgeable damage in the game, and stamina enchants on everything to boost our damage and healing. On jewelry, weapon damage enchants for the same reason. On Asylum Bow we use Nirnhorn trait to boost our damage as much as possible against everything, including damage shields. The enchant here doesn't really matter, as you should be using either cost reaction poisons or poisons with minor defile. Former poison is better on duels and the latter is better in open world PvP. On Master's Bow we've got infused trait in order to have a stronger weapon damage enchant with as high uptime as possible. With this build I recommend using weapon damage potions and Ortsorges Bearhounds, and as a Mandus, Warrior is definitely the way to go. Alright, next up, skills. On the Asylum bar we have Relentless Focus. Helps our sustain and the procs are really deadly. This skill also activates Hemorrhage's passive on this bar. Rearming Trap helps us kite opponents with the Immobilize and provides nice dot and crit damage buff. It also passively increases our damage. Dark Cloak helps us avoid and mitigate damage, reposition in order to kite opponents, and conceals your actions from the opponent, helping in delivering the burst combo, which I'll get to later. Acid Spray snares the target and puts a decent damage over time effect on the target. It's also a key component of the burst combo and can be used to reveal invisible players. And here's a fun fact, you can use Acid Spray or Bombard from Sneak or Cloak without breaking it, if you miss with the AoE and don't hit anyone. Lethal Arrow, our main damage dealing ability that delivers a massive amount of damage on target when comboed. Also puts a healing debuff on the target and can be used as a long range poke ability. As ultimate here we've got Flawless Downbreaker in order to boost our damage further on this bar. It can also be used to finish off dodge rolling low health opponents. On the off bar we have Piercing Mark, our source of major fracture, used to increase our damage even further against the target. It also allows us to see opponent Nightblades, which is really useful. It also activates Hemorrhage's passive on this bar. Resolving Vigor, our only self-heal as bow build, Use it often, but be aware that most of the time it doesn't really out-heal incoming damage, so you need to make sure to avoid as much damage as possible with this build. Shadow Image, used to reduce opponents' damage and kite people. You can also run things like Magnum Shot or Shuffle or Leeching Strikes here as an alternative. Manifestation of Terror. Our main CC with this build creates 2 traps invisible to your opponent, which you can use to combo off skills with by luring opponents into them. You can also kite around it and do all kinds of clever things. Poison Injection. This sticks ridiculously hard on this build. Also buffs or damage with Master's Bow and provides some much needed undodgeable damage. As ultimate here we've got Ballista, which you can drop after you've forced your opponent to spend a lot of stamina dodging snipes, and you can use it against blocking targets to drain their stamina or to overwhelm people with damage shields, so that your burst gets through. And this is what I've found to be the most optimal setup for champion points. And here's the stats screen with this build. Remember that a lot of our damage comes from the 5 set bonuses Marksman and Moraktung, as well as Asylum Bow, which are not shown here on the stats screen. The best race for this build is Wood Elf, thanks to the high regen, followed by Khajiit or Argonian. Orc can work as well thanks to faster sprint speed, but you should avoid Imperial and Redguard because they have melee specific racial passives, so they're pretty bad for this build. I would also recommend being a Vampire with this build, at least for the extra regen. You can go up to stage 4 for the faster re-stealthing and stealth movement speed like I've done, but it's quite risky as fire damage and Dawnbreakers are really going to hurt you if you do so. So you've heard me talk about the combo with this build. What exactly is the combo? Well, basically first you make sure you're between 10 and 20 meters from the target. You then cast Lethal Arrow, and as soon as the cast finishes you cast Acid Spray. Thanks to the faster travel time, Acid Spray will land first and make the target take 50% more damage from the snipe. So that's it, I guess. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more content. I plan on releasing a PvP video featuring this build as soon as possible, as well as an updated version of my melee focused Stamblade build. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.